friends, it's question time. We got some questions coming in. We got one here from a girl who says, as a currently single person who desires and is believing for a future marriage, do you have tips for navigating the tension between being fully present and embracing one's current single season while also praying into preparing for a future married season? In a broader sense, any tips for holding on to an unfulfilled promise while being content in the present? Do you have any tips for avoiding the pitfalls of hopelessness, loneliness, and everything will be better when I get married? Okay, navigating the tension between being fully present and embracing one's current single season. Okay, well let's tackle this one piece at a time. Hopelessness. Okay, so there are two forms of hopelessness that I can think of. One is you're hopeless because of actuality, and two, you're hopeless from perception. Actuality is the way you are doing life actually doesn't have the capability to produce something you're hoping for. So you're gonna have to change something you're doing, and you somewhere deep inside you know that you aren't doing what will actually produce what you were hoping for. It's like if somebody was to try to jump off a step and hope that they could fly, and then you find them crying, sad because they want to fly by jumping off a step, and you realize, well, that's not going to work doing it that way. You got to change your approach to life or your idea of what you need to do. Sometimes people's lives, sometimes people they're hoping for more movement in dating, or someone to be interested in them, but they are very shut off, or they're too afraid to take any steps. So their hopelessness is grounded in, you actually need to take some action, take some good action, some strategic, intentional action towards in a hopeful way. The other one is perception. Sometimes people can feel hopeless, but it's just a feeling. It's their perception. It's how they perceive the world, and it's causing them all this negative emotion and making them feel hopeless. But in reality, it's not hopeless. It's just your perception. And just by changing your perception and realizing the awareness of potential, that there's so much potential all around you, that just stepping out into life, that you never know what can come your way. You never know what will happen if you start taking some steps. And it's the ability to take good action in strategic ways and keep our mind in a good place while we do it. Now, it's not always guaranteed that things will work out if you do this. I remember for the first time, went on a date after a while of not going on dates, and I was excited about it. And 3 dates in with this girl, it ended. I noticed right after it ended, I felt very discouraged, more discouraged than before. And I had placed an expectation on, I found someone, and this is going to be fun, this is going to fulfill something, this is going to be something, and realizing it wasn't. And I realized I placed my hope in a person and in a situation, instead of keeping it grounded in God's going to bring me something. Life is still possible, and things are still happening, whether one situation works out or not. And so keeping our hope in something above just our situation and above ourselves is really important. And that's where a relationship with God and belief that He has good desires for you and cares about you and is helping bring you to what you desire, can help keep you in a hopeful place, even with failure, even with trying things out and it doesn't work. And one question I've learned to ask myself that helps me recognize if I'm staying in this place or not is, I ask, God, what are you teaching me right now? If I keep that the focus while I'm processing, going through life, going on dates, not going on dates, if I keep asking, What are you teaching right now? It teaches me two things. One, it teaches me to stay focused on what God has for me instead of asking, is this going to work out? Is this going to solve all my problems? Is this going to be something that fulfills me? And that's a dead end. So it keeps me in a right focus. Number two, it keeps me learning. You see, if you're dating and you learn something, whether you end up with the person or not, you walk away with something better. You walk away richer. You walk away better for it. And that's hopeful. That's very hopeful. It's still a step towards you becoming the right person who has a better chance of being the person you are supposed to be with. So ask that question, God, what are you teaching me right now, is a good way to keep yourself in the right focus and to turn something, even if it becomes a failure or it doesn't end up the way you want it to, a positive, where you learn something, you walk away better for it. So the second topic is dealing with loneliness. We have to recognize we are social beings, and we need a certain amount of interaction with people. And if you're not getting that, it can be very difficult to feel fulfilled in life. And if you're a person who is not comfortable with reaching out to people, then it means that there's going to be a bit more work for you to learn that skill, to press past fears. Introverts are much more comfortable with being alone and can have tendencies to isolate. And it's pretty clear with the science that social people tend to be more happy in life. And so when you're not getting enough social interaction, you're going to have to adjust that. And I noticed something, my parents got married at 24 and 26. I'm 33 now. And so for the last 9 years or whatever, by this time in my life, my parents had 3 kids, been married for 9 years. They had a lot of social interaction embedded in their marriage and their family life that they didn't have to go seek out. It was always there. And as a single person, I don't have that as an automatic. And so I have to seek it out. I have to do extra work to be able to just create social interaction because I'm not married, because I don't have a family. And so knowing that, I can be more intentional of, I got to do work. I got to prioritize reaching out to people. I got to prioritize hanging out with people and set that up as a part of my life. And that will help me get social interaction, feel more fulfilled as a person, not feel as much loneliness. And it works. I haven't always been I'm more of an introvert, so I can be more comfortable staying at home and not going out. And I notice the more I pursue people and hang out with people, the more happy I am. The more when I lay down in bed at night, I feel more content. I feel not this anxious loneliness, and it makes a difference. So find your steps to make social interaction happen. But there's a side of loneliness that no matter how much social interaction you have, if you cannot be with yourself, it can make for a lonely life. You can be around tons of people and feel the most lonely because you don't feel known and you're not okay with yourself. And I've noticed when I spend time sitting alone and journaling and listening to my thoughts and meditating or praying or focusing on God or reading the Bible or just being able to spend time with myself, I will walk away fairly often where I had loneliness before to feeling content. Where the loneliness was, I need to be able to be with myself. I need to be able to be comfortable with myself and face my life and face my thoughts and face who I am. And sometimes we go to being social to remedy that, but being social will never remedy you not being comfortable with yourself. So I think another aspect of overcoming or relieving loneliness is being able to be alone, be comfortable with yourself. So 2 things, being social and being able to be alone and have peace in those areas and have something happening in each of those areas fairly consistently you'll watch loneliness just start to disappear as you fill your life with those things. Okay, next topic. We were talking about. She mentioned tips for unfulfilled promises. Now, you're believing God has something for you, or you just feel like there is something that is possible in your life and it's not there yet. I learned this idea several years ago, and it's changed my life in a fairly dramatic way. I realized it not trying for fear of failure versus trying and failing. Hands down, trying and failing is what I want to spend my life doing. Even if stuff never works out, trying and going for it, because there's always potential available. Now, we're not guaranteed to have that be fulfilled, or that we're not guaranteed that everything's going to work out, but the fact that there is something waiting for you, and never trying, at the end of your life, you're going to be pissed off at yourself. You're going to feel it was such a waste of time that you never tried. And so I've tried to adopt as best I can a mentality that you always just got to try. You have to try. You will be so much more happy with yourself at the end of your life. Even if you fail, even if it never happens, the fact that you try is a much more noble pursuit with your life. And it'll be a much more fulfilling pursuit. So try and take some chances and go for something. And as you do that, I think it starts to open up new worlds to you. It starts to open up new possibility. And it really does open you up to promises that you feel like maybe God has spoken to you, or senses that you feel like your life wants to, things that are important to you, things that you want in your life. Another useful tip that I've done with my life is I've started to develop things that take the focus off of just being married. When that becomes my focus, or I'm just thinking about that and looking for that to solve problems, watch out. That's too much pressure on one thing that actually doesn't have the capability to fulfill the areas of your life that need to be fulfilled for you to have a good marriage or have a good life. And some of the things that I focus on, besides just wanting to get married, that's always in there, but that cannot be the main thing. That can be part of a thing, part of my life. The other parts of my life that you will always need to be developing will be developing as a person, or refining your purpose and growing through life, and getting focused into who you are to become, and keeping yourself, maintaining yourself in a healthy place, meeting your responsibilities. Nobody will do these things for you. A personal relationship with God that is fulfilling and meaningful to you. Nobody can do this stuff for you. So if you get married, having these things going will make your marriage so much more better, because you have kept yourself in a good place. You have developed yourself. You have a sense of purpose. You can handle responsibility. You have a relationship with God that strengthens you, and so these are points of interest that we can be developing right now, that we don't have to wait till marriage. In fact, don't wait until marriage. Develop these now, because they will be needed in marriage. And that takes the focus off of just getting married. I need to keep growing as a person. I need to keep handling my responsibilities well. I need to keep learning how to keep myself in a healthy place. I need to keep developing my relationship with God and spirituality. And when you have those interesting things going in your life, it is so much easier to feel fulfilled. And when we're more fulfilled as a person, we don't place our unfulfillment onto another person and make marriage and this person bigger than they are, because they will never be able to fulfill us. That's an inside job that each person is responsible for, and that will affect our loneliness, our hopelessness, and our belief that good things and promises that God speaks to us that will actually be fulfilled. And again, the idea that getting married will fix it all, do not fall for that lie. Just remember, Your spouse will not give you character. Your spouse will not walk out your courage. Your spouse will not be your personal purpose. They will not create a personal relationship with God. They may help in those things, but ultimately they cannot do that because you are responsible for that. And so marriage, no matter how wonderful it is and how enjoyable it is, will not do those things for you. And so be developing those things in your life now, and so that you have the best chance for a good marriage when it comes to you. So these are some of my thoughts. Hope this is enjoyable and helpful for you guys. Remember, if you have questions, write us in, let us know. And if you have any questions about these videos that we are doing, further questions, or you want us to explain something further, write in and let us know, and we will answer those when we can. All right, thanks. Bye.